dust cloud. Not like this. Not like this. So Nintendo just announced that they are delaying the sequel to Breath of the Wild to spring 2023. Yay, Zelda delays! Zelda delays! We love Zelda delays! Oh boy, what's that Bane meme? What's the line? It's like, this ain't my first rodeo, you know? I think Zelda delays is pretty much, I've been dealing with this for decades now. And I feel that I might be partially responsible for this, because I just put out a video talking about how 2022 has so many games coming that I just needed to stop. I just needed to stop, and I meant like don't announce any more games, you know, like whatever higher power I was talking to, whether it's the year of 2022 or Nintendo or whatever. No, not this. Oh, the irony. Oh, the irony. A finger has curled on my monkey's paw. They really knew. They really knew which one to take away, didn't they? I'm actually a little relieved. Like, I actually am at least a tiny bit relieved. There's so many games coming out. I think I'll be playing Elden Ring for like the rest of the year. So like, I don't know. It's okay. Okay, so before we start talking about the actual delay, I do have to say it was very, very, very nice of them to give us some little tidbits to chew on. Like, obviously, they didn't want to actually reveal anything to us yet because they're not ready, probably not till E3 or something. But they didn't want to tell us it was being delayed without giving us just a little something. And they did, and it was very nice. I'd say two major things. Aonuma said that while this world is basically the same Hyrule as, you know, from the first game, as we've talked about, and, you know, I've even made a whole video about it and stuff about how I was kind of worried about that concept. He says that it is being expanded. It means that there is more to the world that was not in the original, and it seems that might be at least partially responsible for the game taking so long. I mean, really, that's like one of the only things we actually know about the game is the reused world, and, you know, it's been a big topic of discussion, so, like, yeah, it's really nice to hear that. I mean, like, I always imagined there would be some new stuff to it, but I don't know, it's nice to hear that there's new stuff, and that, you know, that's, again, why, at least partially why it's taken so long. It's good! More importantly, though, look at this sick Master Sword! Look at this! Something happened to the Master Sword. It's, like, destroyed. It's not even just ragged. It's like it's been used for some just awesome epic purpose and like just like destroyed. It's all cool. And so like, are we gonna be like rebuilding it? We're gonna make a new one. We're gonna fix it. I don't know. That's sick. It's sick. Link's arm is all messed up. Master Sword is all messed up. The world is all messed up. Stuff flying everywhere. Can't wait. So back to the delay. It is so funny. Like, it's so funny. I made a video in 2020 about how I was, like, almost completely sure that Breath of the Wild 2 would be coming out in 2020. It'd be the holiday title. And that video gets funnier and funnier with each passing entire year, doesn't it? So that didn't happen, obviously. And, okay, I was like, all right, I went a little bit out on a limb there, but now, 1,000,000,000% sure that it would come out in 2021. Because why wouldn't it? Because why wouldn't it? It's an asset engine reusing sequel. The reason that you do sequels like that is because it's easier, it's cheaper, it's quicker. So like, okay, 2020, sure, whatever. But come on, 2021, 4 years after the original, that's as long as it took them to make Breath of the Wild after they, like, you know, it took them like 2 years or whatever to make the engine and the tools and everything. And once they did that, it didn't even take that long. So 4, okay, of course it's gonna be 2021. And then it didn't. And then I'm at this point, where it's like, okay, I know it keeps happening, but now it's even more ridiculously, just like obvious. Of course 2022. No reason to. I thought people who were saying it was gonna get delayed again were being just like overly negative. I like some negativity, you know, I like a little cynicism here and there, but, you know, that was just too far for me. There's no way. There's no reason. You know, it's like you roll a 100-sided die, you're probably not gonna land a 1. But then you do, and you're like, okay, it's not gonna next time though, and then you do again, and you're like, okay, stop, hold on. Okay, like I know technically I could do it again, but I'm not gonna, and then you do, and then, you know? Okay, so obviously, obviously, 100% obviously goes without even saying that a delay is a good thing if it's something that needed to happen. Like, Nintendo's cool. They're one of the only companies not doing the whole crunch employee abuse thing. So, like, that's cool. You need to take some extra time to finish your game instead of rushing to the deadline. That is a good thing. But I do have to wonder, as an asker of questions, what the heck? Saying, what the heck is taking them so long? So, like, the first immediate response to that is usually like, pandemic, you know? Like, that really probably didn't help for like the entirety of 2020. Things were super duper weird. And while that is true, I'm not willing to put too much weight on that. Like, there's a chance that that did delay it by a bit, but like, I don't know, they've been announcing and releasing lots and lots of other games. Like, obviously, things are moving at Nintendo. So I don't think it can possibly be like that much. It's not, I don't think that's accounting for like the years-long thing, you know? Most likely, it's just that their vision for the game just kind of kept on expanding, you know? They started out wanting to make a DLC, and then they're like, you know what, no, we should make it into a full game, and it could just be that got bigger and bigger and bigger. And like, usually with like big AAA games, like you want a good solid vision of like where you're going, you know, like goals to meet, all that stuff, because these games cost tons of money, tens of millions of dollars, just so much money, and the longer you spend, the more money you're spending. But like, I would say like Nintendo overall does usually like to take their time with stuff, but I'd say with Zelda in particular, they really like to take their time. They like to really play with concepts until they get something. Like Skyward Sword, they talked about how they struggled for a long time trying to figure out what Skyward Sword was, and then they got it. It took them like 5 years, and then obviously, you know, Breath of the Wild, same thing, took a long time, a lot of R&D to make it happen, and it could just be like that's happening now too. And I don't know if it's like with Zelda, it's just because like it sells well enough that they think that it's worth it. Could be like an artistic integrity thing. They know that they're making a game that will be in their, well, you know, not if they don't let you play it later, but that's a whole other discussion. But basically, they're making a legacy game. A Zelda game stays with us forever. Could just be they're like, the money doesn't even matter. Make it good. You know, what Aonuma or whoever, you know, they're very much based on like their senior executive members and all that stuff at Nintendo. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's just like, that's what Aonuma wanted, so we just let him do it because he's the Zelda guy, you know? And honestly, maybe they got burned by Wind Waker, you know, like that game, like the GameCube was struggling. They wanted it out like in time they needed it out fast, and they ended up having to cut a huge amount of content from it. And who knows, maybe that still haunts them to this day, you know? Like, Wind Waker's a great game, but it could have been even greater. And maybe they're just like, you know what? No, we don't do deadlines with Zelda anymore. We just don't. We do it until it's done. And you know what? That's pretty cool. Because Wind Waker is one of their big legacy Zelda games, and it's great, but it was permanently damaged by that rushing process. And I also gotta ask, pretty much ever since Twilight Princess. Like, that was the one that felt like it was delayed forever. It wasn't in retrospect, which is really funny. Like, back then, that was a long time, but now this is just like how it is. But like, are these all coincidences? Is it just like, oh, well, you know, Twilight Princess, we had to delay it, and then there was the Wii, and we had to get it on the Wii, but that was just one thing. But then Skyward Sword, oh, that was just kind of a coincidence. We couldn't figure it out. You know where I'm going with this? Like, and then now, it's an asset reusing sequel. Should be the quickest of all. Yeah, 2-3 years, tops, right? But like, maybe this is just what Zelda is. They don't want to do it fast, you know? I'm a little more capitalist-y, you know? Like, I'm cool with just get us a sequel. Like, it doesn't even have to, like, be mind-blowing if it comes fast, because we just want more. But like, I don't know. Maybe that's just not what Zelda is. They don't want to do a Majora's Mask or a, you know, Spirit Tracks anymore. They want to just hunker down and focus on it and play with it until it's done. Maybe the next game will take, well, I mean, probably 5 years. It's always about 5. Oh man, it was 5 years. Now we're looking at 6. It's very, very funny that the game that should have been the fastest out of all of the recent Zeldas in the last like 15 years or whatever, the one that should have taken the least amount of time is going to take the most. 6 years. 6 years for the quick sequel. Oh my gosh. So, final potential reason they delayed the game. Not a serious one at all. Just to be clear, they wanted a shot at Game of the Year, and they knew they could not have it this year. I mean, Elden Ring's gonna win. That's it. It just is. I'm sorry. If you don't like it, you don't think it is. I'm sorry. It's gonna win. Elden Ring. And then, like, even if you didn't have Elden Ring, you got Horizon 2. And you got all these other games in it. And we got a new Pokemon generation this December. So, like, maybe it was just too crowded for them. They're like, you know what? No. 2022. They saw my video. That really is it. They saw my video. They agreed. 2022. It's too much. Just push it to 2023. Just do it. Whatever. Then maybe they can get Game of the Year. Okay, final thing that I will say about the delay and how it makes me feel. Yes, it is sad that I will have to wait that much longer to play the game, but I think I might be more sad just that 2022 is a little bit less wild now. Like, there was just a novelty to having a year with so many amazing games, and it's still gonna be one of the best years for gaming in a long time, but just having the next big Zelda on there too, that's the icing on the cake, I'm like more sad that we in the future look back at 2022 and like it'll still be great, but just that extra little bit to make it like one of the most legendary years ever. Boy, spring 2023 though, it really does feel good to get an actual release window that's not a year. That's not just like, well, sometime in the future, like there's the past and the present. The future is the window. I mean, in retrospect, without a solid window, we were always walking on shaky ground, but now we have it, and I think for real this time, for realsies, there's no real reason to expect another delay. Famous last words. No, I'm willing to believe it now. I believe it. Breath of the Wild 2 is coming in spring 2023, and we're definitely gonna see it with the name reveal and everything this E3. But what about you? Are you sad? Are you happy? Are you angry? Do you hate Zelda? Do you not care at all? Let me know down in the comments. And in the meantime, I'm just gonna go wait a year, I'd be just like, oh my gosh, this June will be 3 years since the reveal. 3 years since the cinematic reveal. And we have to wait another year. Gonna eat some chips. Actually, no, I'm trying to eat better. I'm gonna eat some broccoli. Gonna eat some broccoli.